Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Boss Rush on this Friday, April 3rd, 2026. I think I got the date right this time, at least.
Look it up when you said that.
Yeah, I was actually, I made sure that I leaned in to get that right. So sorry that it's starting a couple minutes late. It turned out LinkedIn didn't like the link it gave me, so I had to restart the whole stream for LinkedIn. And folks, you know, YouTube and Twitch, they start perfectly, but LinkedIn, for some reason, we always have a problem. My name's Chris Melasinos. I'm the host of this haphazard weekly experiment that we call Boss Rush, and I'm joined here today by two of my regular co-hosts.
Hey, Dean Takahashi. I'm the editorial director at GameSpeak.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And
hey, I'm Mark DeLora. I'm a 30-year game developer, and I'm trying to come up with my new title. So maybe I should workshop it.
Yeah, well, let's talk about your. Let's talk about
GDC and GameDeveloper.com. So I'm doing the thing.
You are doing the thing. Yes, excellent job, buddy. So that means that you are now seated on the conference management, right?
I am now. Well, next week I'll be legit over the whole.
Buddy, you're always legit
at Informa. So
you're always legit.
too legit to quit.
Oh my gosh! Yes, thank you, MC Hammer. That's fantastic. A very good throwback, of course.
Somebody
of course.
How are you guys? What a week! What a good week.
Yeah, what a week. Yeah, you all keep talking. I'm going to check our levels here.
All right. I'm not level. I'm not feeling very level. How about you, Dean?
Doing all right. A little chilly again.
Really?
Oh, yeah. No. And we had our, first earthquake in a little while. About 13 miles away from us, so it kind of shook things up around 1:45 a.m. the other day.
I love how they always plan those in the middle of the night.
There was like this wave and then a big shake, and then that was it. And everybody in the house woke up except the dog, and the dog was just fast asleep.
That dog's doing its job. Then it's an earthquake. There's no intruder. We're good.
6. That's like a proper earthquake. You know. Dang.
Yeah. Right, 4.9, I thought, right?
4.9. Oh, really? Oh, even better.
Okay.
Oof.
Yeah, but you know, according to our description here for Boss Rush, we're 6.7 on the Richter scale, which is Beastie Boys' line. And then Darren Gladstone, our good buddy, reminded me. He said, "Oh, you would have to use 6.7." I'm like, look, that was done decades before that nonsense ever happened. So
nice.
Exactly.
Nice. Way to go. Well, I'm glad you're okay, Dean.
Yeah. Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. And then, Mark, how are you feeling?
I am sick. I'm still sick. And I decided I wasn't going to shave. So, what are you going to do? Yeah, I'm still battling the conference crud, which has turned into conference pneumonia. So hopefully after a round of antibiotics, that'll go away and I'll be back to my cheery self.
Yes. Well, you're still cheery. But yeah, oh my goodness. Hey, we have a Haas that just went ahead and joined the chat there. Hey, buddy, we're going to talk about you here momentarily. I had an awesome opportunity to spend some time with Haas, and I know Dean has, but we're going to talk about that shortly. But before we go ahead and jump in, it's been a wild week. We always try to find all the positive stuff in our industry because there's a ton of positive stuff that's always going on. But, overall with, people that find themselves either displaced, lost their job, downtime stuff, again, we hope everybody finds their way back in quickly. There's softer landings for people that we can kind of pull out of this. But it just, every Friday when we go to sit down and talk about this stuff, I'm like, okay, we have to, talk about all this positive news, but I don't want to also, gloss over the fact that, our industry is still trying to find even footing right now through a lot of the changes that have been going on. So please, if you are facing those situations, reach out to your friends, family, reach out to the Always Care About Games community stuff that Amir has put together. And of course, the link is there in the bottom. Check our networks right on LinkedIn, reach out. If we can be of assistance, of course we will. So So yeah, I just wanted to make sure we started off today recognizing that. Okay. I have nothing else to add. I'm running a little ragged, a little tired today too. So
Yeah, I hear that.
I'm going to try to bring the energy level up a little bit. So
I'll go into one that I think is curious and interesting,
okay.
and not necessarily bad. A Game Pass for indie games.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Are you talking about some news app?
Let's get into it.
Okay. Yeah. Let's definitely talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
It's
interesting.
announced yesterday, right? The Indie Pass.
Right.
It's,
Yeah.
And it is launching on the PC on April 13th.
Yeah.
And let's see, 70 games at launch. Pretty good. What is the pricing on it again? Oh,
Yeah.
$6.99 a month.
$6.99 a month.
Yeah, very interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here on gamesindustry.biz, this is one of the big ones that caught my eye this morning too, Mark, right? Indie Pass, $6.98 a month subscription launching with 70 titles. Indie.io's Jess Mitchell says that the platform will help smaller creators with discoverability in an ever busier games landscape. And one of the things that they're trying to address is the issue that we collectively have around discovery, right? Let's see. The platform is an outgrowth of Indie.io's work, running both as a publishing label, a catalog of over 200 games across multiple platforms, with PC as the home base, and community platform Wiki.gg, for which Mitchell claims an active audience of 10 million 10 million monthly active users. I think, she stated, candidly, one of the biggest challenges indie developers face right now is the sheer number of games out there, and that number seems to be growing by the minute. If you don't have a huge splash in your launch, then you might not have another discoverability moment for 3, 6, even 12 months after release. So they're leaning in to try to help with some of that discoverability. I think that's awesome, right?
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah,
I think so too.
Yeah, I mean, from an indie game perspective, where I tend to like get bulk games and stuff like that, right, is I'll look at Humble Bundle and I'll look at places like that where it's like, oh, for one price I can get a whole bunch of stuff, or itch.io, constantly on there, looking at this stuff there. But this feels different, right? Curated. There's a little skin in the game on the behalf of the user, right? The consumer. And so this becomes a destination that you kind of lean into every day. So I also like that just putting here, our focus is on growing the player base as rapidly as we can, rather than trying to get every single product in the universe on the platform. So it's not a free for all, right? It is, how do you do that? And Oren here in the chat says, just dropped from Ken's coffee chat. Oh, so we got a little competition going on there. Hey, thanks for coming over, Oren. Good to see you here, buddy. So yeah. So Mark, when are you getting your games up there?
Good question.
Mark's like, here's all of my 60% completed game experiments. I'm going to launch there.
Exactly. Yeah, no, they don't need my trash.
Interesting that it comes out at that pricing, I think, because, there is that rumor put out by the information that Asha Sharma was considering lowering the price of Game Pass. Xbox Game Pass, especially the higher tier price that is up at $29 a month, and bringing that lower to reverse the price increase that they had, back in December or so. And so, I think some awareness of just how much gamers value these subscriptions at, and how they're sort of wanting much lower subscription prices. I think that's an interesting trend, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, here's the question. So yes, that's great on the consumer side, but does that help the developers anymore? Yeah. Right? If they're taking in less money, does that mean developers joining the program get less revenue?
Yeah, or is it that some developers are getting some money now, whereas before they wouldn't have gotten much at all? Probably varies pretty wildly. But in a market with so many games, it seems like a little, worries me. Seems like a natural development, but worries me. I'm just recognizing that I didn't know that Humble also has a monthly games plan.
Yeah.
They're advertising on the front page of the Humble Bundle right now.
Yep.
So.
But they've had one for a long time.
Yeah,
But there's so many.
I'm not omniscient. I know I might appear omniscient, but sometimes I miss stuff.
Hey, look, this is a family show. Watch your mouth, man. Wait, what does that mean? I don't think that word means what you think it means, Chris.
It probably doesn't. It probably means, probably something like cupcake or something. Anyway. So check that out. $8 a month over on Humble Bundle, front page right now for the next 4 days.
Yeah. Well, so then let me ask you guys a question then, and for the audience as well. So, when we talk about, there are too many games, and then we talk about, but there aren't too many movies or too many books and things like that. But, then I was thinking, but you can finish a movie in an hour and a half and feel satisfied that you watched it and then move on to the next thing. But you don't typically do that with a video game, right? Is there such a thing as too many games?
Well, there are something like 20,000 Steam games that come out a year, but I think everybody's sort of entering into the fray knowing that it's like this sort of winners and losers market, right? And it's not that everybody gets an average amount of revenue that will come in that gets lower and lower because every single additional game is going to take away from other games. It's more like you're entering into the lottery, betting that your game is going to be one of those handful of winners that come out in the year, right? So I think that's why we keep getting more games, right? I think I guess the economics of it seem scary, but then there are examples every day, every year of people who have struck gold, right? So I think that's what keeps motivating people.
Yeah, and just motivating people to continue releasing stuff is because people want to make video games and tell more stories, and we should be celebrating that and supporting that absolutely every day as much as possible, right? For everybody that's jumping in. So.
Yep. Just want to increase the chance that anybody who makes a game can then go make a second game.
Yes. Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah. 100% agreed. 100% agreed.
That's all right.
Well, since I brought up his name, let's go ahead and jump right in. Since Dean, you published this wonderful article that happened to fall on my birthday. So, yes.
Interviewed you for your birthday? That's nice.
Yes. Dean did this just for my birthday. Astroburn is a cat sci-fi cute-em-up built for the rise of modern retro. Now, we talked about this last week for Haz's Kickstarter, but I wanted to make sure that we also called it out. So, yeah. Tell me about your discussion with Haz.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had a nice interview at the JDC, and I think he has interesting points that he raises about there's a different kind of demand out there for what he calls modern retro, which is really parents playing with their kids, telling them that, oh yeah, this is what we played in the good old days of ancient history of gaming. He went all the way back to what he enjoyed and played on, his Super Famicom and that was sort of like his inspiration for doing this, and he even found from that era the phrase somebody had coined "cute 'em up."
Oh yeah,
throw in the cat and make it a shoot 'em up, and you got to cute 'em up, and it was a very interesting conversation. I think he had been making cinematics for Dune Awakening for about 3 years, and before that, he had been making a lot of.
Oh, we lost Dean.
Whoa. Oh, we really lost Dean.
Experimenting. This one is very sort of interesting retro side-scrolling shooter look to it. So
Nice.
Yeah.
It was, like he also had a, interesting path to testing the game with a company or a platform called First Look, which I had not really known that much about, but he could get hundreds of testers to give him feedback on any given stage of the development, and this is sort of the best way for him to get in front of them. And I did follow up and talk to Pragma and Eden Chen, the CEO there, about this, and he says they have more than 300 companies now signed up for First Look that have been regularly putting things out there. And the biggest included in that is Battlefield with Battlefield Labs, right? And so First Look sort of runs that feedback platform for them. And so it's very interesting to me that very small developers like this, this very small shop of folks can get their game in front of hundreds of people and then get that feedback and just in a very organized way. So.
Yeah, agreed all the way around. I love in the article here you talked to him about the cue up phrase was translated from the Famicom manual. And there we go. There's a little bit of the gameplay there. It's awesome. I've had a chance to go ahead and play around with it, and I love it. I love everything that Haas is doing with this, and really focusing on how to make it really accessible for all players, right? It's 2 buttons. It is, cardinal controls, and that's it. And it's great. And if you ever played, a lot of the shoot 'em ups and stuff on, like the TurboGrafx 16 and things like that, there's a ton of cue 'em ups on there. So yeah, it's really, really good. Very well done. A cacophony of joy. That's what it is. So cacophonous joy. There we go. How's that?
Where'd that meowing come from?
Exactly. I want to know if he's doing all of his own sound effects or if they're using actual cats. But yeah, definitely check it out. And there's a bunch of cat-related puns that pop up on the screen. And it's really awesome. So congrats to Haz on getting this out. And definitely go check out his company, Beyond the Pixels, and his background, because his background is awesome in everything from film and movie production and special effects and cinematics, all the way to games and game development. Really, really cool guy. Really, really awesome work. And yeah. Darren Gladstone says 2 buttons. Why, that's too many. Yes, we agree. Too many.
I'm really intrigued by this First Look Games company. I'm kind of staring at their website and their LinkedIn, and the idea that they could be an interface for a small studio that doesn't have a lot of marketing resources to reach creators and to get beta testing on things is super interesting.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's the website right there. Data-driven iGaming market platform. And trying to go ahead, right? That's the one that you're talking about, right?
Yep, that's it. Yep, pretty cool.
Yeah, very, very cool. Yeah, anything that we can do to help indies find a bigger audience, find, opportunity to revenue, find feedback while they're building their games is super awesome. So really, really cool stuff. All right, what else do we have?
There was an interesting story from Baobab Studios a week ago, where they acquired media rights for some of the top Roblox games, and they had different games like Natural Disaster Survival, which is like a 20-year-old game on Roblox, but it's gotten more than 4.1 billion visits over time. And so I talked to Maureen Fan, the CEO of Baobab, about this, and they started getting into Roblox games with their Momogoodle franchise, and so the more they learned about this community, like they realized there was like this opportunity to make films, like especially animated films based on those Roblox games, and that they have been played by so many people now, especially young folks, that they were kind of like this natural target for a movie-going audience. So it's just one more logical extension of this expansion of games into things like movies and TV, right? And so
yeah, we keep losing Dean. He keeps dropping out there. His network connection.
Those are the ones they've announced. But yeah, I think it's a very interesting move that I guess with 151 million daily active users, right? Yeah, you're probably going to get an audience for films like
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Volume. Real quickly, I was just alerted to the fact that wasn't the right landing page. This one is firstlook.gg.
What?
How studios build successful games, single platform to understand, engage, and grow your player base. And there we go. Playtesting, key distribution, NDAs, waitlists, friend invites, beta branches. Look at all that stuff.
Is this the same company but a different webpage? Or a different company? That's kind of puzzling.
It's owned by Pragma.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's right. Yeah, Eden Chen.
That's maximally confusing.
Here we go. 10 products in one. Playtesting, player CRM, creators, rewards, community, analytics. So basically an entire turnkey suite of tools that are required to reach an audience, to manage that, to engage them, to create engagement loops, and get all the analytics in to prove your business out and to figure out where you need to go ahead and change. So really, really awesome. Really awesome stuff. Yeah, we're going to have to dig into this and maybe get Eden on to talk about this, because I think this is awesome, right? Again, more tools and service that we can do to support really amazing content out there is fantastic. So thanks everybody for correcting the record as it were.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Oh, who's there? Is that Bowser?
That's Bowser.
Exactly.
He didn't want to come in. He was sitting in the hallway yelling at me because the other dog was like sitting there and was going to pop him if he walked past. So Mom gave him a boost, and now here he is, special guest star Bowser.
Very good. Oh yeah, you'll definitely be hearing some of the belly snorts and stuff like that coming in. Yeah, but yeah.
Did you see the patent case, the Nintendo USPTO?
Yeah, let's talk about that real quickly. Yeah.
The examination, I guess that's the word that was used.
Yeah. U.S. Patent Office rejects Nintendo's summon sub-character and let it fight patent.
Yeah.
How do we feel about that?
Well, I feel that game design patents are very strange. So I think it's interesting to have a rethink about this. I think the assertion here is that there might be some prior art, but I didn't dive into it too far. But I think that's a fair reason to revisit, and I'll be curious to hear more over time. Certainly feels like there could be prior art.
Yeah, in the article here on GameIndustry.biz, it is reported that there was prior art. The decision was based on combinations of 2 or 3 prior art references in the form of published U.S. patent applications. So Nintendo submitted summoning patent in March 2023. The USPTO approved it in 2025, but announced re-examination in November. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes, right? This is not a final decision, right? This is a temporary one, and then Nintendo has several weeks to be able to come back with the response, right? But
Yep.
yeah, I mean, I think we probably all recognize where the root of that patent filing comes from, right? We don't have to discuss that here, but it'll be interesting, again, to see how that all plays out, right? And to your point, going ahead and trying to get patents on mechanics, is really that's a very difficult thing, right? To do. It can really hinder, depending on what it is, right?
Yeah.
From
That's how I feel about it too. Copyright, like copyright, I understand. Patent, I don't understand. But I'm not a legal scholar, so
Nor am I.
I just hate the idea that like maybe in the future nobody makes games with a summoning mechanic, because they're worried about patent. Like that would be a loss for all of us, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yikes.
Yeah, it'd be like patenting superheroes in movies.
Yes.
Like, no.
Yeah, that's a little crazy. Here's another awesome though pop of positivity here. Dean had published this again yesterday. Latin America defies game stagnation with 372.3 million players and 8.3 billion in 2025 revenues. So, Dean, can you walk us through a bit of this?
Yeah, the growth rates are still good, like 4.5% or so, and I think I've been going to the Gamescom LATAM show and going again this year for a couple years, ever since Gamescom took over, and it's a very vibrant show, and the Brazilians in particular are quite enthusiastic. They have very enthusiastic creator community down there, and they just go crazy, and like they get 131,000 people showing up for Gamescom LATAM now. That's like an example of just the enthusiasm. And the separate story I did also from GDC, where I think more than 30 Brazilian game companies showed up. They're going from show to show, testing to see what the sort of the global taste for their games is now, and so they're kind of trying to take the playbook of something like Black Myth Wukong, and taking Brazilian culture and seeing how well it plays in the larger world. And so a lot of the indie games, or 4 or 5 indie games that I got to look at their booth, and they're all very original IP focused, and bringing in Brazilian culture in different ways, and they're all sort of moving up the food chain from external development. So interesting evolution there. And then the market is enthusiastic, and it's an emerging market still, and it's really showing strong numbers compared to like the rest of the world.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you talk about, Brazil, yes, I agree. Overly enthusiastic. Elio popped in and said, just enthusiastic? No, very, very, very much enthusiastic. You made me think back to the Java 1 days when the cohort from Brazil would be in the audience, and anytime they come up, the flags would come up and they would start screaming and horns would go off and everything else. So yes. But also, what I love is in Latin America and further to South America, they've been keeping older video game technology alive longer than pretty much any other region in the world, right? I think they still manufacture Sega Master System level machines in South America, right? Because it had a lot to do with like the tariffs and things like that, and technology that wasn't developed in country. And so those systems, which it's like a 40-year-old system, right, was still being manufactured up until recently. So yes to Brazil and LATAM, and I'd love to see that many players, that much excitement, right, about this art form is awesome. Awesome.
And then yesterday, Xbox announced their FanFest tour, right? And there's 8 sort of established countries there for where the FanFest tour is going to show up, and Mexico City is one of those. And it's interesting that, say, New York is not on that list, but Mexico City is, right? And it's kind of telling in a way, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know much about it. Mark, have you read anything about that as well?
About the Xbox?
About the festival, yeah.
Just the headline, pretty much. Just the headline.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes back to, I think, I don't know if Peter Moore was at the one that I went to first, I think in Amsterdam, when they were starting to talk about the Xbox 360. And they did these fan-oriented announcement events. And so this Fan Fest tour goes way back in history, and they haven't done one in a while. And so it's good to see Xbox going back out and saying, like, under new management, we are doubling down on all things Xbox, and going out there to meet the fans, I think is a very interesting move at a time when everybody else is probably thinking about cutting back their marketing effort.
Yeah, I think that's right. The other thing I like about that is that hopefully as part of that, they are exposing people in a lot of other places to indie games that maybe haven't gotten a lot of play in those countries yet. So hopefully good for the whole ecosystem.
Yeah. So,
yep.
Yeah, it's very large fan events in very large places, I think, and then lots of games on display. Right?
Nice. I have to go to one of those. That sounds super fun. Does PlayStation ever do anything like that?
I mean, they used to with that whole, I can't even remember the name of it. It's been so long since they've done one.
Yeah,
I remember there were events like in Las Vegas and places like that where they announced their big games. I guess
the big parties at the Metreon.
Play events or something, or I don't know. Yeah.
I know it makes me sad that we don't have those sort of physical kind of celebrations anymore. Those types of festival tours and things like that the big companies used to do. Even things like mall tours, right? Were awesome back in the day.
Nintendo did do that, last year for the Switch at least, but the Switch 2 announcement.
And they have the Pokemon Go festivals, which are pretty amazing.
Right. Yeah. Yes, there are examples. I'm just saying it doesn't. It feels like those are more outliers than a normal, sort of thing. But such is the state of. Go ahead, Dean, please.
Microsoft also announced at the same time they have that Xbox Game Showcase they usually do at the Summer Game Fest on June 7th. Sunday of that Summer Game Fest week, and then they have a Gears of War E-Day Direct that's going to follow that showcase. So
interesting. Ooh. All right, we're talking about new hardware, right? And we're talking about the current market. There was a YouTube video that popped up this morning that was recommended for me from Jeff Geerling.
Oh, I saw this one yesterday.
DRAM price is killing the hobbyist single board computing market. A Raspberry Pi 5 16 gig is $300 now. Right? We used to talk about Pis being, this is a machine so cheap that you could get it on a pocket on the front of a magazine cover right from the newsstand.
It's right? Like $25, right?
Yeah, they were supposed to be, under, even the bigger ones, under $70, $80, $300, right? For DRAM pricing. And the fallout from this we're also seeing is companies doing handhelds are just canceling product. They're we talked about this last week. There was one that could cancel, but more and more are like, we can't ship. Here's the funny one. The funniest part about it, it's not funny, but it's funny in that I was like, that's really peculiar. Raspberry Pi announced more price increases for all Pis with LPDDR4 RAM alongside a right-sized 3 gigabyte RAM Pi 4 for $83.74, which is just a crazily specific number. But you're like, 3 gigabytes of RAM? Like, what the hell are you talking about? You have 1, 2, 4, 8, 6.
And 3.
The reason that they said this was because they could get the 1.5 gig RAM chips in a more abundant supply because they are just this weird thing versus the 1, 2, 4 or 8 gig modules. So they redesigned the board of a Pi 4 to squeeze 2 1.5 gigs onto it for a 3 gig board. Like, now I love that. Yes, we're going to figure out a way around this, but now they're saying hey, you know, hobbyists out there, don't even look at the Raspberry Pi 5. Just come back and look at the 4. Like, we have supply and things like that for it. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. You know, I mean, the ripple effect for this from a supply chain perspective is going to be lasting for quite some time, you know, just absolutely crazy, which, okay, then goes into the discussion we were good
on IGN also. You know, they ran a story about how they think that the high hardware prices could be like an existential threat to the game industry because you know, $1,000 consoles are just not going to fly. And, you know, I think we all remember the days of, you know, $250 consoles as sort of being the sweet spot, right?
Yeah.
And the sort of pricing in the market that made it affordable to just about everybody, you know, in the middle class in the U.S. And so you're moving into a space where the sort of more elite and the rich folks and the people who want to be cool are all the ones who can afford these machines, and that's very, you know, that's a narrowing market. And you know, it is probably also, I don't know, maybe no surprise that PC gaming just continues to gain ground here every year. And, you know, every year we go without new consoles is just, you know, seeing that market shrink by comparison.
Yeah. Yeah, no lies detected. I mean, it's that is, you know, just kind of where we are in this cycle. And so that also makes me think, when people start to look at the trade-off between the most bleeding edge games and graphical performance and everything versus, okay, well, I'm not going to be buying a new graphics card or a new console anytime, so what can I play on this, right? So if you've got games that fit into older hardware that are really awesome, right, there's an opportunity there to find an audience you may not have had before, right?
Yeah. And if you think you need to buy a Raspberry Pi, I implore you to go look at the Arduino series. And some of the higher, more powerful Arduinos are still pretty inexpensive. Just depending on what you want to do with it. You can get like a SAMD 51 for $25, and it'll, you know, for small projects, they work great.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
sure to look it up.
Either that or go look on eBay for old like Dell desktops that companies are getting rid of and things like that. If you're into retro gaming and things like that, they're perfect. You could pick up a machine for like $150 with
Chromebooks, probably.
Yeah, Chromebooks, all that stuff, right?
Yep.
So it feels like we're going to be back to kind of this hacker hobbyist mindset of duct taping stuff together. We can build a game, a Wii rather. We're just going to duct tape.
I think that's right. I mean, to me, that's always been what Raspberry Pi is all about, right? So I'm happy to see them do this 3 gig thing, because to me, it's been more like, what is the maximum performance I can get inside of a particular price envelope? That's kind of where Raspberry Pi lives.
Yeah.
For me. So $300 Raspberry Pi is like,
yeah,
that's not what Raspberry Pi is about.
No, agreed 100%. 100%. Dean, do you mess around with any of those things like Raspberry Pis and all that kind of stuff, or no?
No, not so much. I don't know. The time I get for gaming, I'm usually laying on my desktop, and then I do have a very, very large HP laptop here that actually is capable of running arc readers while I'm on the road. So yeah, I don't get out as much to the fringes as I would hope. So I more have to count on friends to tell me about what that is.
There you go. There you go. So I think next time we're all in the same city, Mark, we're going to have to get Dean, kind of kidnap him, take him aside and go, look at all of this stuff that's happening under here that we're building. Yes. Yeah. I just refreshed my Mr. Stack this morning and ran updates on everything. And oh, it's so good. Here's a really cool story that Dean published yesterday too. I'm really looking forward to this one. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Empire City launches April 30th on VR platforms. All right, so we are seeing some stuff, come out for VR platforms. Dean, did you have a chance to play it?
No, I just got to look at the trailer that they put out, and it looks interesting. And I have to wonder whether there are that many more of these in the pipeline, for Meta. because the cutbacks at the Reality Labs division at Meta have been very severe, and we're kind of canceling games and maybe not canceling them. Like Horizon Worlds is, I'm not quite sure what the status is on that. They said they were going to cancel it, and then a lot of players objected, and then they said, "Oh, maybe we won't cancel it then." But yeah, I think that the notion that this kind of game can succeed is really debatable in sort of the state of the VR market, where you have Meta trying to sort of take these huge brands into VR and expose them for the first time to the players there, and then the players, they all want to play Gorilla Tag. Right, and so right. More of the homegrown VR titles are, very successful, like Beat Saber, etc. And so, a lot of the VR community seems quite happy with that state of affairs, and so I think we'll see how much more of this we're going to see coming out of Meta as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Darren in the chat here said Batman was awesome in VR. Deadpool was pretty good, and I have my hopes up for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I hope that Steam Frame can pick up some of the slack that Meta's dropping. Yeah, I think Meta's just set Valve up to basically be the platform upon which to publish going forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Valve seems like super dark horse becoming quite center stage these days, right?
Yeah. Well, Ilya said, is VR the new 3D TV, HD DVD, or metaverse? I want to hear from you guys.
And where is it coming from? A particular story or something?
No. He's just asking: is VR? Did it just become the new 3D TV, or HD DVD, or metaverse? Meaning that a lot of hype and then, not delivering on that.
I think it was already that. I mean, it was that because I was in the last cycle of it. Right in the 90s, there was hype. There was amazing hype. The movie Lawnmower Man, this, The Matrix, whatever.
It's made its way through that sort of trough of disappointment, right? So it went up the hype curve, it sank into the trough, and then it's climbed its way out, right?
It's climbing. Is it?
What VR
as a market is is stable, right? And it supports some what have become large companies like Resolution Games. It's so well above 100 people, right? And Shell Games, so some of the companies that concentrated in this market, which was not after the hype was gone, this was not the red ocean market anymore, right? And in some ways, those companies have seen better margins than lots of the other folks who are just diving straight into Steam, right? And so, I think if you adjust your expectations properly, then it's not a terrible market, right? So, and I think
I was chatting.
One interesting thing about it is that there is still momentum for others to carry this flag forward, right? So, like if Meta has looked at these and said, "Oh, it's actually a better opportunity for us to put all our money into AI instead of into VR and the metaverse," then we're going to go put it in AI, right? But, Valve and Steam, they don't have this AI business, right? And so to them, it makes perfect sense for us to go after this market that some others are not, turning into a red ocean, right? And so kind of going back into VR at this stage for Valve looks like an interesting opportunity for them. And then, Samsung and Google are also pushing forward with their own headset. And I don't think that Apple has given up on, their headset as well. I think there will be another version of Apple's headset, all the way to the point where it becomes glasses, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's where everybody wants all the technology to eventually get to. So I don't think this market is going to stall and stop.
Yeah. No, no disagreement there. Just we've gone through these hype cycles and then down. But I think comparing VR to like 3D TV and stuff like that, those gimmicky side of things that never provided a benefit to the content versus VR, which is the content, right, is the difference. There's still too much friction though for people. I don't know about you guys, but I hear it from some people that are like, well, even if I'm home alone, like I don't want to feel stupid with this on. I'm like, you're by yourself. Like, why would you feel stupid? Type of thing. And there's just some amazing experiences to have in VR. I do think that once we get to glasses form factor, and then you can do anything. Then you'll be able to do anything, presumably. In an AR system like that you could do in VR, because you could just replace the entire world in front of you, but obviously do a whole lot of things that you can't do.
We're just there is doing so much work though.
What do you mean? Just replace everything in front of you?
Yeah.
When I say just, I mean that you don't have to allow like pass through. You could just use the
one word.
No. It's not. Yes, simply just turn on virtual everything. No, what I mean is you can deliver full experiences that cover all of your viewable space, just like a VR headset.
Definitely do that at some point in the future.
In the future, not right now. There's no way in hell. There's no way in hell. We don't have the optics for it. We don't have battery. We don't have local compute that could fit into something like this. So no, I got you. Look at him going right after it.
Dude, I've just had my heart, ripped out too many times with VR.
Oh, well, yeah. For those of you that don't know Mark's
then it was like everybody just, walks away.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know Mark's background in VR, Mark has had the longest background in VR of probably any industry professional that I know. Back in your college years, too.
That's sad.
I don't think VR has gotten to its end state of
I'm going to hold you to that.
Yeah. Well, the end state of features, body sensation and things like that, right? I mean, there's just such a long way to go before it gets to its sort of state of 16-button controller, right?
Yeah. I mean, there was such a really rapid technology bump in the last VR cycle because of all the developments in mobile technology. And then when we caught up to where mobile technology was, and it helped drive some of the new technology, but the rate of change kind of went back to the normal rate of change of technology development. So we caught up to that. We pushed that forward. Meta invested so much money into it. We had so many amazing experiences, and I want to see that continue. But I think the newness factor, which can drive a lot of this kind of stuff forward, dries up over time. And people are like, oh, okay. Oh, it's the same thing. Oh, it still makes me sick. Oh, well, or oh, I don't want to look stupid. Or, we have to have these amazing experiences to get people over that bump. Like, why am I going to try this out? Why am I going to continue to play this? Gorilla Tag's been great for that. So hopefully more experiences like that. Seeing Rec Room go out of business this week made me really sad.
Oh yeah, that was very big news. Like very sad to see. But yeah, I did interview them at that point when they were valued at $3.5 billion after raising a whole lot of money. And Nick Fate, I guess, and they put out a note saying that they just couldn't find their way to profitability. It's sad because they had 150 million players over time. Right? If you're kind of in this free to play mode, you can't stay on it forever if not enough of them find enough value in it to pay something. Right?
Yeah, agreed. Well, I mean, some of the discussion around that was they made this huge pivot towards AI generated content away from just pure UGC. And the money that it took to do that, and they let a bunch of people go. And in reading some of the the assessment of this by certain places on the web, it's like, why did they pivot towards that versus staying the course and actually finding ways to invest and build up those revenue streams that may not have been as big or caught the hype cycle that AI has, but would have provided some longevity there. But I mean,
I don't know.
at this
With
point,
the
we're
money
all
pouring
armchair
into AI,
quarterbacking it.
Yeah, I don't blame anybody who's jumped in. Like you see all the companies who jumped from crypto to AI, and I'm like, that at first I was like, that just seems crazy, and then I'm like, oh well, of course they're doing that, because this is where the zeitgeist is, right? This is where all the money flowing from investors are. Is if you can continue to push forward a vision that you've been trying to push forward, and ride the next wave of capital, maybe you're actually going to be able to get to market. So I get it. At the same time, it's just like, oh.
Yes. Again, we're not going to turn this into the Web3 crypto metaverse discussion, because we're not
for that. MMOs.
I think these waves really do have to coincide better with what the players really want, right? And if it's sort of a groundswell from the players, then maybe it's got more reason to be a hype wave, right? So I don't know.
Although sometimes the players are going to say they don't want a thing, but if somebody presents it to them in a particular way that's compelling, then they're like, oh, that's why I like the thing. And so you see there's a lot of people who will make that leap and think, I can sell them on it. They just don't know,
Yeah, there's a higher and higher bar for that, especially in the West now, with so much sort of cynicism in the player base, I think. And others, have pointed out that in Asia, like there's a different attitude towards innovation and new things, and then trying them out, right? And so, free to play was born in Asia with Nexon, right? And they, had to find a solution to piracy there. That was just at the time the thing that was killing their market, and now, most of the new innovations, they do get their base really started in Asia, I think, right? So blockchain was accepted more there, metaverse concepts, etc. They wind up getting burned, but they're not sort of organizing into outrage groups, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that is typically a Western phenomenon.
I was just having a chat with somebody yesterday about this with AI and at GDC, and the fact that there were so many AI tools shown off, but a lot of people poo-pooing them. But then you look over in the courses, and every course that has anything to do with machine learning, it was like lines out the door, and people want to learn and experience and see what's happening. So there are people who are not fans, and there are people who are fans.
Yeah, I think the Google Cloud AI line event that I saw at GDC had a line going around this center.
That's the one that stuck in my mind too. I'm like, that was just epic. Yeah, it was like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Hey, well, I know we're coming up to the basically the last 5 minutes here, but I did want to share one more great story that Mr. Takahashi shared with us. The IGDA Foundation's Download for Charity sale is live on Steam. And it's happening till April 6th. So Alyssa Wales, Executive Director at IGDA Foundation, said in an interview with GamesBeat in February, the latest event means that more than 100 participating developers in Steam can donate a portion of their proceeds to the IGDA Foundation, which helps build a sustainable game development community. So if there are games that you're looking for...
Very fun story there. I think Alyssa had said that they did this as an experiment last year, and it actually turned into such a big success, even with a dozen companies or so participating at that time for their first run. And, some of them donated a lot more than the sort of recommended, like 20% of the proceeds. And it turned into a huge, sort of part of the revenue incoming for the IGDA Foundation, which gives out lots of scholarships and things like that. And we wrote that story based on that interview from the DICE Summit it. And she said they were able to sign up more than 100 this time.
Yeah, there's some great games on this list.
Yeah, it's great, and so I think they're going to do much better this year. I think where they have a nice strategy of the Steam sale takes place, right, and then as it ends, right, they pick this up with the same prices for those developers who had games in the Steam sale, and say you can continue getting these games on a discount now, but just give us a piece of the proceeds, right? It's a charity drive, right, and it's really working well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So if you're on the fence about some games, something like, go see if they're on the list. If they are, go
I
purchase.
just saw Despalote in there. I was like, what? Oh, I forgot to buy that. I'm going to go get that.
There we go. There we go. Well, I know, like I said, we're coming up to the end here, so I want to make sure that we talk about the games we play. But I also want to say that for the next 2 weeks, I am going to be traveling on Fridays. So
you're gonna have to train me how to do stuff.
Yeah, so I'm going to be working with Mark next week to make sure that we continue this going. Next Friday, I will be going to the Parents Weekend at my son's university, so that will be awesome. And the following week, I'll be attending the National Association of Broadcasters show in Las Vegas.
Cool.
So I will be out there doing all of the Amazon AWS things and exploring the show and seeing if I can
Spread the gospel of games.
What's that?
You can spread the gospel of games at NAB.
That's right. And then maybe go crash a couple of podcast booths. Hey, what's going on in here? Got a free mic? And
that's a good move. I like that.
And go right. Exactly. That's right. Have you all been checking out Boss Rush? Because we're doing some things over there. That's what we're going to tell them. So as we're heading out, Dean, what are you playing this week, buddy?
Well, I got two things to mention. One was Invincible versus. I got another look at that at GDC, and their open beta is coming up April 9th through 11th, and then they're launching the game on April 30th. It's the new game from Skybound that's based on the Invincible comics and animated show, and I didn't realize that at Prime Video, it's the #1 show, right? And they're in multiple seasons now, and that game's a fighting game, say, taking on Mortal Kombat, right? So very interesting to see that happening. And then I also played Arc Raiders a lot this week because they dropped a big update, and it made the game a lot harder. Like, you can go grab some loot now, and then you'd find that it's a trap, and then like 4 different arcs spawn around you and just like zap you.
Oh no!
so it's a harder game than it was, and I think they had to do that for all the people who had reached level 75 and had peaked out at there's nothing more for me to do here. So interesting, very interesting update. And they have another sort of concentration point where raiders can go and get slaughtered by some of the more powerful arcs that they've now created.
Awesome. I'm gonna have to get some Arc Raider sound effects on the soundboard here.
Yeah,
so we
I gotta
can
play that more too.
Yeah. How about you, Mark? What are you doing?
I downloaded a few things this week and have been having some fun, but I think the one I've been playing the most because it's short games is Ratcoin.
What?
which is a roguelike coin pusher game. You know those coin things you see at the arcade where you can put quarters in and they drop, and then others maybe get pushed and fall down. And so it's a roguelike version of one of those. And
what?
It's exactly what you think it is, and you should play it because why not?
You play as a rat, then, or?
Yeah, I think you play as a raccoon, so that's why it's called Ratcoin.
Oh my god!
Anyway, yeah, I was going to buy Slay the Spire 2, and I saw that, and I was like, "Wait, I'm gonna buy that." I've been playing that more.
Well,
anyway.
All right, yeah. I'm not playing much of anything right now, apart from just dipping in and out of some games. Just a bunch of stuff going on. I have been building a little Raspberry Pi Dreamcast thing, so I've been spending time. And anytime you do any of those side projects, it's always I spend more time futzing with it and then making it kind of work, and then going, "Oh, that's really cool," and then it goes right up on the shelf, and you don't wind up playing anything. But it's a way to have my catalog all in one little spot. I want to continue doing that. But
Nice.
But that's about it. So that's going to go ahead and take us to the end of Boss Rush today. I want to thank my co-host, Dean Takahashi, and Mark DeLaura for joining today. Sorry that we missed Susan, but she'll be back next week. And we'll make sure that Mark has all the tools and stuff that he needs to go ahead and host while I am away. And if I can join remotely, I will absolutely go
amazing.
and do that.
We got to make that work.
Yeah, and we'll see we'll see how we can get all that to work. But thanks everybody, and we hope you have an awesome rest of your day and an awesome weekend and all of those good things. And if you're getting some downtime with your family this weekend, if you celebrate the holiday, great. If not, go spend some downtime with your family and friends. And that's going to go ahead and take us out of here. Thanks everybody, and we'll see you next week on Boss Rush. Bye.
All right.